So here with us now to continue this conversation, let's welcome in Rina Shah, political strategist and former senior aide to a pair of Republican lawmakers. Rina, thank you so much for your time here. So we know that the RNC is taking this, quote, hard look. What does that likely mean in reality?
Well, it means this summer's convention could mean that NBC has no place there. Look, press credentials aren't just handed out like candy. They are essentially thought to be a very coveted pass because you really get all access to every part of a convention. Now, not exactly every part. Somebody like me that has been a convention delegate, that has been at the upper echelons of my local party, I understand that these conventions are not just great places to meet your fellow Republicans from across the country, but they're also places where a lot of high net worth donors come to, and they're given special treatment in the form of lavish dinners. There are also a lot of corporations who have these great parties going on. When you're a member of the press, you get a lanyard with a press pass that allows you to sort of observe it all. And it is thought to be something of a special privilege. Revoking this privilege, I think, is rather unprecedented. And if I were still a member of the RNC or an elected delegate to this summer's convention, I would be against it because it's just so wrong on its face. Why restrict our press when we have freedom of the press here?
You know, and Rina, you bring up such a good point. And, you know, we're talking about a major network here. You know, as you mentioned there, any restriction would likely cause major pushback, not only from NBC, but from many networks. There's so much political division right now already. How much do you think the RNC is taking that into consideration?
Well, I don't think the RNC is taking it very lightly because they do see it as a slap in the face against Republicans to sort of purge Ronna from NBC's payroll. Now, I don't know why that's so personal for a lot of folks because there was a large group of folks at the RNC who wanted, again, this former chair, Ronna McDaniel, out of this role. Now, that's for various reasons. The number one being that she personally, would talk out of both sides of her mouth at times. That was well reported. But the main thing that folks who really had a problem over at NBC said was the fact that she aided and abetted Trump in the denialism of election 2020, that there were receipts, if you will, that came out much later showing how far she was willing to go to, again, push back on the results of that free, fair, and just election. Now, today's Republican Party is fractured. Look at the results out of those primaries. Look at Nikki Haley's candidacy, the fact that she was able to make it as far as she did, the way she registered in polls, even on Super Tuesday, in election and on ballots, even on Super Tuesday. She did fare well. So the party isn't entirely Trump's. But again, to go against Ronna in this moment is a bit nonsensical. I think NBC could have kept her and they could have used her as a contributor, but perhaps they could have paid her less and then they could have made particular demarcations on what shows she would not appear.
Yeah, certainly. You know, and something you just mentioned there, Rina, the fact that you're saying the party isn't entirely Trump's, but we know he essentially handpicked much of the current RNC leadership. How could that play into how this moves forward?
Well, first, Nichole, we have to consider why he did that. You know, economic power is political power. And one thing that a lot of Republicans opened their eyes to when Trump became not only just the nominee, but won the presidency in 2016 is how well he did with small donors, how much fundraising prowess he had. And so people really said that, hey, that wasn't Ronna's doing. It wasn't anything masterful she did that led to so much money coming into the RNC coffers in those early years of Trump. Now, post-2020, we know that the current presumptive nominee for the Republicans, the former President Donald Trump, has a lot of legal baggage that needs to be paid for. And now we know that the RNC did pay some of Trump's legal bills up to, I believe, about $2 million is what Ronna McDaniel herself has said. And now his daughter-in-law is vice chair there. So he's going to continue to have this relationship where money flows from the RNC to Trump campaign to the super PAC. It's all a little murky. It's something I have not seen in my time as a political operative, but this is where we're at. I just simply think that Ronna McDaniel getting a lawyer at this point, fighting NBC, all of this potentially denying NBC a spot at the RNC convention, it's all really silly. We need to focus on the issues that are important to us and the American public writ large.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.